the Happy Hour Podcast with your host, Joel Fleischman.
Welcome to the Joel Fleischman Happy Hour Podcast. This is episode number 50 with Bruce Spiller from Kiel, Wisconsin, our location up there, and window department specialist. Episode number 50, Bruce, welcome.
Thanks, Joel. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, milestone. Right. So famous number 50s. You're a little bit of a sports guy. A.J. Hawk for the Packers.
Isn't he 50?
Yeah, Mike Singletary.
Hawk was,
Mike
Singletary was 50.
Bears.
Yeah.
Urlacher was he 50? No.
Urlacher was 52, I believe.
Yeah. Retired. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. A.J. Hawk 50. Famous.
No basketball players that were 50, right? Not really.
Charles, no, I don't. David Robinson, potentially.
David Robinson, I believe, was 50.
50?
Yes.
Hey, and welcome to our new podcast area.
This is perfect.
If you're watching
this is awesome.
Welcome to us. Hey, Holden, you should also throw on captions.
Should I?
Yeah, you should always do captions. Just the CC button there on Google Meet.
I'm not on Google Meet.
Oh, great.
I'm on a recorder.
Yeah, do you have captions?
No.
Next episode, we need captions. Writing that down.
Yeah, he was 50.
You don't have captions? Okay, well, welcome. So, Bruce is on here for number 50 because it is his second last day at Drexel after how many years?
About 17 and a half. Right. Yep, 17 and a half.
I don't call it retired. Bruce is going to repurpose.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So 17 years and a half, that requires a beer.
All right, I'm gonna stick with the clear stuff, Joel.
Lent or rough weekend? What's going on here?
Nope.
Recently, is that a new thing?
About 6-7 years ago. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Just kind of got to the point. Guts couldn't take her anymore.
Yeah.
It's just
I'd have a couple.
Yeah, I'd have a couple that night, and it just didn't sit with me any well. So, what's the point?
Good for you.
So yeah.
Good for you.
All right.
Well, cheers.
Yeah. Cheers. Thanks for having me, Joel. I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
So, you live in Glenbeulah?
Right outside of Glenbeulah. Correct.
Got a bunch of boys.
Got 4 boys.
And how many grandkids?
8.
8.
8 grandkids.
That's great.
Yep. Had one every year for 8 years in a row.
Okay. Wow.
So they're 2 through 10.
That is interesting.
Yep.
That's wild.
Yep.
And we have worked together for 17 and a half years.
Correct.
And I remember when you started.
I remember when you interviewed me.
Let's go down that story. Let's start that story. Like a lot of podcasts do, right? How did Joel hire me?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Long ago.
I don't know.
What was the time? Not this long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's when how old are you?
Me? I just turned 18 like a few weeks ago.
Right. So it's literally when you were born.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. So go down that road. I was working at a factory in Sheboygan for almost 22 years. And I just, kind of long story short, just kind of decided that wasn't the thing for me to do anymore. I didn't enjoy it. It was work, going to work. I'm like, there's got to be something different. I had a little bit of carpentry experience when I was in high school. I worked for a builder outside of Plymouth. Basically 17, 18 years old, you're carrying studs and stuff like that. So I could find my way around a little bit. So actually my wife saw an ad in the paper for Tri-County Building Supply.
Tri-County
Building Supply.
So you were Tri-County for a year?
You were Tri-County when I first started. So, and I think you changed that to Kiel Building Supply maybe 6 months after that.
Yeah.
Roughly.
So sidebar story, we bought a location, Lown, 2 locations, one in New Holstein and one in Kiel. And at that time, we were Campbell's for Building Supply and Berlin Supply. So we never reopened the New Holstein store, which is only 4 miles away, and transferred everybody to Kiel. So, of course, the natural thing would be Kiel Building Supply. Although there were some definitely heartbroken people in New Holstein that we didn't come to New Holstein or stay in New Holstein. So Kiel Building Supply was a little harsh for everybody to take. So Kiel is the heart of 3 counties. So we said Tri-County Building Supply. And then when we moved out to the new store, we just changed it to Kiel.
Correct. Yep.
That was it.
Yep.
Okay. So anyways, you saw it on the paper.
So I don't know. Yeah, I saw my wife. Actually, my wife saw it in the paper.
Hi,
She's
Bern.
like,
Shout out to Bern.
and she went and came down here, walked in the store, and you rounded me up right away and talked to me for about 5 minutes. Went in by your dad, and he gave me the Albert shtick.
So do you remember it? Like what?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Like yeah, just to kind of go through it.
Oh boy, what did he ask me? Because at the time I did have my CDL, and I think that's kind of what I was applying for, is because we had just gotten a boom up there, I believe, and basically my CDL experience was back in trailers into our dock in Sheboygan. I mean, never really down the road. I'd go a couple blocks, and I did more backing up than I did driving. But I did have my CDL, and yeah, it's just, he just kind of grilled me on this, that, and the other thing, and Jesus Christ, you're pretty old, and like
17 and a half years ago.
I think I was 40. Was I 40? 43 when I started here. And then I remember that we came out of the room, and you got a hold of Jeff Taylor, I believe,
Okay.
and said that why don't you take a day vacation and ride with Jeff Taylor for a day? I'll pay you cash at the end of the day, see if you like it, and here we are.
And you did that? Did you ever drive truck here?
Yeah.
Oh, you did.
Yep.
I thought you just.
Yeah,
I
I drove the boom. In fact, I just gave up my CDL maybe 6-7 years ago.
Oh, wow.
You always got to take the physical every other year or whatever it was, and I'm like, I'm never going to do that again.
So then, a year later, you were a window specialist in Kiel.
I delivered here in Campbellsport for probably 3-4 months because Kiel wasn't built.
Right.
And with my wife being from Campbellsport, I knew a fair amount of the area.
Yeah.
And then I ran the yard in Kiel for maybe 3-4 months, something like that.
Yeah, you ran the yard. Yeah. Now I remember.
And then you and your dad came up one day and made some changes and said, you're going to come in and sell windows. And I'm like, I don't think I can sell anybody anything, and I don't know anything about a window. I know I can look out of it. That's really about it. Don't worry about it. We'll train you. Here we are.
Here you are. And assistant manager for many, many years.
Yeah, probably at least probably a dozen or 14, I would think.
Right.
Right.
So for all the new people at Drexel, you'll get there, right?
Oh yeah.
Because I know our
stick with it. Yep.
Because our window team right now has how many people under a year?
Oh boy,
Majority?
Throughout. Oh yeah, the majority.
Right.
You got Rob.
Turnover more through promotion.
Promotions moving within.
Yeah.
Yep. Boy, Rob and Mike and Dean down in New Berlin.
Yeah.
And boy, just about everybody other than that is probably under a year, probably 2 for sure. Maybe I'm missing somebody, but yeah.
So we have lots of training to do.
Yep.
What was your best way? Hi Macy, you don't listen to these. Is my daughter. She's like, you need to have more written down questions. That's what podcast people do. I'm like, I just like to talk, Macy. So maybe I should.
Well, a lot of times you're impromptu and one question leads to another.
I just think we're having a conversation. I'm like, when I have a beer with somebody, I don't have 12 questions written down, Macy. Just so you know. I don't need to do that. I know these people.
The conversation just flows.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
So back to that question. What advice would you get for people to be trained, for all the newbies at Drexel or anybody new in a career? Training them. How did you train yourself to become a window expert? Or 17 and a half years in, I wish I would have trained myself this way, right? Because training does a lot of times come down to beyond what the company can provide. Like,
for
there's
sure,
too many variables to sit down in an office for a week.
I think I had I guess I'll call it the luxury of doing this, starting here and starting this job later in life. Like you said, I think it was 42 or 43 when I started here, probably 44 when I started in Windows. I think you just have some of the life experiences of, I'm going to ask questions. I don't have to pull this off by myself. I'm not going to be a big hero and do this now and find out 6 weeks from now when the stuff gets at the job site. I'm gonna call and I'm gonna ask Rob Dean, and I'm gonna call and I'm gonna ask Mike Miller. Just ask a lot of questions, stick with it, be a sponge, absorb as much as you can.
So you said it yourself, you're not a salesman, you're not a born salesman, but you've sold millions and millions and millions of dollars of windows. So for those people that are also listening, because I think there's so many people saying, I'm not a salesman. I'll never be a salesman. And I just think that's a bad stigma. You're not being. So what did you learn from I'm not a salesman to who Bruce Biller is as a salesman?
I'm glad I got in. I'm really glad I got into sales. I can say that now because I think.
So define sales. Give me the definition of sales for Bruce Biller in Windows. How would you if you had to tell your grandkids, Grandpa, what's sales?
Well, somebody, a homeowner will come in. They're gonna be building a house or a shed or a garage, man cave, whatever, and they're looking for your expert advice on what product fits my needs, and
so simply you are giving your professional opinion.
Yep.
Based on the knowledge you currently have, which is always changing.
Yep.
The knowledge you have today is different than the knowledge tomorrow, and that's what you have to remember too. Is my opinion changes based on my wisdom, based on the years, or just on what I've learned in the last 2 days.
Yep.
And based on what you told me, based on me asking a lot of questions, I'm just giving you. We're just having a conversation.
Yep.
Take it or leave it.
Yep.
So sales they're not high stress, and in our industry too, I think we get confused about high stress sales. No one needs insurance. No one needs this microphone. Maybe some people do.
Right.
But people need windows in their house.
Yeah.
So we're just telling them, hey, I think this is what I think you should do. And I think why that makes you a wonderful salesman, Bruce, is you're honest that the day is long. Holden probably knew that when he met him. He's got a very calm, serene personality. You can tell that.
He just seems genuine.
Yeah, he is. Like he's the most. That is like if Bruce Biller's headstone. I would put. He's a genuine dude.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I think you take that as a huge compliment, right? Because that's who you are.
I do.
Yeah. And again, a genuine. People want to buy from genuine people, right? Like you're just giving me my opinion.
But I guess kind of going back to your question, once you figure it out, and kind of like going back to the new people we talked about a couple minutes ago, once you figure it out and you know what you're selling, then it's easy. Then it's easy because I tell people that come down, Maria and Michelle from Wrightstown were down just recently, and it. Just
great girls.
Again,
great.
Absolutely.
I shouldn't say girls. Great females in our industry.
They're going to be winners.
Going to be winners. I know it.
They're going to be winners.
Good job, guys.
But people are going to come to you to be. They're coming to you to be the expert, and just be honest with them. And if there's something that you're looking at on their plan that you don't think is going to be a good fit, hey, this is my opinion. This is just strictly my opinion. Your money, you guys can do what you want, but I would look in this direction versus this for reasons A, B, and C. And people appreciate that.
And also to minimize your stress, as he said, be honest and expert.
Yeah.
That's a great question. I have absolutely no idea, but I'll get back to you on that. That's okay too.
That is, in a lot of cases, that's the best answer there is once in a while. Like I said, I'm not going to be some hero and BS my way through it, because if you BS your way through it, it will come back to you.
And tremendous amount of stress and anxiety.
Correct.
Because you winged it. It was a prayer. You kind of sort of knew. Maybe you didn't know. I mean, it's kind of like being dishonest. If you lie, you have to remember what you said.
Yep.
If you're honest, you don't have to remember what you said.
Correct. Yeah, it'll come back to you. It'll definitely come back to you.
Yeah.
So just be honest with them, and this is Bruce's opinion. You can that's what I would do. So and people appreciate that.
17 years ago, we had 3 locations.
Berlin, brand new Kiel, and Campbellsport. Yes.
Right. So we were about $15 million in sales. Does that sound about right? I guess maybe $10 million.
I remember, Joel.
I'd say 5.
You guys, I think you guys hit $1 million in sales.
$1 million a month.
When I came in for an interview, because I do remember you brought that up, and I didn't know of. Obviously, I didn't ask you.
Every person got a $100 bill. We got $1 million sales a month in 1 month, and we got a $100 bill.
Yeah.
Now we do that sometimes in one day. Many days. We average over $1 million in sales a day.
But I think you guys did $1 million in Campbellsport that month.
Yeah.
And I think I came in like early November or whatever.
Thanks, Holden.
And I think that was your big deal. You were kind of flying high on, Campbellsport. We did $1 million.
We're a big shit. We're a big deal.
Right.
We're a big freaking deal.
Right.
So So did you see where we were going?
It took me a little bit, I think. It took me maybe a year or two to see where you were
I
going.
mean, are you surprised that we're a $300 million company
No,
with 9 locations? You're not.
no, not really.
You kind of visioned that.
Oh yeah,
It's way smarter
after
than me
you
'cause I didn't
after you see what's going on, I saw that at my previous employer as well. You know, I mean, very similar stories. I mean, they started family business.
Except they sell coffee filters.
Correct. But I mean, when I started there on third shift when I was 20 years old,
So you
I
really
think.
had 2 jobs. I mean,
For the most part, I've had
two
2 jobs.
Careers. 2 careers.
Correct.
Put that way.
I think when I started working there, I don't know, there were 3 shifts. I started on third shift. There might have been 120 people there. Go ahead.
Not at once, right?
No,
Total in the factory.
Yep.
Right.
First shift, second shift, office people, probably very similar to when I
Yeah,
started
probably close to 100
here-ish.
people, maybe-ish, yeah.
When I left there in '04, they were probably pushing 1,800. They had 4 different manufacturing plants. They had one in London. They had one in China. Since closed that, but yeah, I mean, so I kind of went through that. I could see this happening.
So
I could see this happening.
Here's a question. What, like you were able to kind of forecast Rockwell, forecast Drexel. What should we be cautious for going? I mean, I think I've interviewed a few people close to the repurposing, the retirement, and it seems like they get real wise, which is great.
Yep.
So what would you be cautionary about Drexel going forward? Hey, there's a couple things here you guys got to make sure we get it right. You know, and you're a genuine guy. I know you'll honestly answer that.
I guess, and this is kind of a blanket statement. Maybe it's too broad, but I saw it over there. Don't grow too fast.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna, if you outgrow what you're capable of doing. I think I don't know if one of any old Rockline employees are watching this, but I mean
I'm sure.
it was
Renee, maybe.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah,
Rockline,
she was from
Rockline,
Rockline as well.
Right.
Growing too fast, you couldn't keep up with the growth. You know, that's a good problem, but it's still a problem.
Right.
It can
and
be a problem.
And I do think I can speak to that a little
Yep.
bit. You know, I just put out a video to the team today. Consistency, stability, clarity. I mean, I don't see us growing, and maybe dollars will grow, but not growing like we have with different locations and expanding. I feel our customers, our team, our industry, our vendors need from Drexel a real consistency,
Yep.
which will bring clarity and stability.
Yep.
I mean, I think that's a point in our company's life cycle where it's like this is more of a consistency type thing coming out of this pandemic, all
Yep.
the changes in our industry. Like we just need to be who we are. That doesn't mean we don't tweak things and changing, but yes, the accelerated growth we had led to a lot of problems, and we got to make sure we don't leave who we are,
Right.
the team we have, and the customers we have, and then have to reinvent ourselves 3 years from now because crap.
Absolutely. I would agree with that.
Yeah, and I
absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, and I think it's very wise advice. I'm glad we both align with that because I see the same way.
Yeah.
And I think our whole team's ready for that. Like,
Yep.
so like our growth, in our opinion, is going to come the next 3 years from robots in Wrightstown, robots in Amherst, and then a distribution center.
The truss plant up in Wrightstown.
Yeah, and to me, that's more, again, building from within. That is more consistency and stability. That really isn't growth.
Yeah.
Now, may more dollars come from that? Sure. Positions open up from that? Yes, but again, overall, you're not.
At some point, you plateau off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah, for a while.
Let's regroup, you know.
Yep.
Can't just keep having grandkids every
Yep.
year for 40 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. No, that's what I. Looking at it, that's what I would say. Just be careful on the too fast of growth because like I said, I think I saw it at my previous job and it just got to be there for a while. It got to be mass. It was just chaos, you know, and the right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing, and it makes it tough.
Yeah,
It makes it tough. It really
for
makes
every
it
person
tough.
there. And
Absolutely.
then the customers are impacted, and then you lose them. And then you have to
Yep.
reinvent it again.
Yep.
And then you're too big to reinvent. That's a challenge.
Yep.
For sure. And we have to be careful of that. That's
Yep.
really good.
Yep.
So if I just met you, we're having a beer like we are, you're having a water. I have to drink both now, Holden.
It might be gin. You never know.
Yeah, geez. Retirement day.
I guarantee it's not gin.
Smelled something over there. We just met. You worked here for 17 and a half years. You have a good, genuine guy. You have perspective. What is Drexel?
Drexel's a family-owned company that
We're actually in Aesop.
started as a family-owned company. Yep. But it
Family-owned
started.
values, maybe?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. But anyway,
Absolutely.
what is Drexel? Yeah.
We live by the core values, and I have that hanging by my desk. I actually lifted one out of Kiel, and I have it in my shop at work at home. Yeah, it's a family-owned company that grew like we just talked about, and it's very, very community orientated. Berlin takes care of Berlin in their area, and I get more compliments on that all the time, of just the community involvement of what we do for local organizations, what we do for local nonprofits. People ask me something about that probably on the average of once a week at least.
But you know what? We live, Kiel, Berlin, Camelsport, New Berlin, all of them. Little Shoot, Amherst. I mean, I've broken bread in all of them. I had beers at all of them, right? Mm-hmm. They're neat communities.
Absolutely.
They're unique, and maybe it is that same way around the country, but we're uniquely, at least in my opinion, like it's easy to give back.
Small towns
cool.
are.
Yeah.
Small towns are.
They just are. Small town USA, man. I mean,
I'm a small town guy. Always have been.
So you mentioned core values. When we started, there was no such thing as core values.
Well,
so I can tell you've been impacted by the core values. Mm-hmm. So could you kind of explain what we were as a company prior to core values? Kind of a complicated question. How the core values kind of became to be and now what they are? So really, like before the core values, what was it? Like why, if we didn't have core values, who was driving the bus? Or how do you say it, right?
tough question. I know who was driving
You know what I
the
mean?
bus.
Like the core value, I feel like somewhat drive. Core value is really, I guess, in my opinion, and you can disagree with me, right? Core values are who we are. It's an ever-waving guideline. It really is of like this is what we need to do on a daily basis.
Yep.
We didn't have that. So what filled that void had to be filled with something. What filled the void, or was there just a void?
I think there was just a void. We just even back then, I think we were trying to grow so much. I think there was just a void, and you just did what you had to do to get through the day,
just
and
grinded shit out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You just grinded shit out.
Yeah. 12-hour days were not unique.
Oh no, not at all. That was 10-hour days were the norm. 11-hour days were the norm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
every day.
Every day.
Yeah,
I got to get this. I got to get this done. I got to get this quote out. I got to get this ordered. Yeah. I got to get these on the next truck.
And I don't. I think you're like me. I don't have regrets about working 50, 60, 70 hours a week. I really don't. Regrets are. I don't think you should have regrets in life, but I am happy for the next wave of the generations coming
sure.
through. People say, "Hey, guys don't work as hard as this next gen doesn't work as hard." Yeah, but they're going to have a little better life.
Yep.
They're going to know their kids a little better. They're going to be a little more vested. Probably a lot better golfers.
Well,
Better fishermen, and that's okay too. I think that's okay.
Right.
I don't think those 12 hours we got a lot more done than they get now if they're focused.
I don't think so either. Right.
We did a lot of. It's 4:00. Let's have a beer, but I'll be here till 7.
Right. Look at what's changed from your dad to you, from his generation to yours. Like in my dad's generation too. I mean, if you didn't bust your ass, 12 hours a day, you were a.
Well, let's go back to a hardware store business owner.
Oh yeah.
In World War II, they worked 7 days a week.
7 days a week, yeah.
12, 14 hours. Like they just worked at the hardware store. Mm-hmm. And every generation seems to be a little bit figuring. I don't know where this is going in generational wise, but I think 40 hours is about right. It does seem very balanced. I don't think it's a random number.
Yep.
And, you still have a big purpose, but you got a little freedom there to do some wiggle. But yeah, I mean, we opened up the gate every night. And again, we were a smaller company. We opened up the gate every night. We locked it every night.
Yep.
And a little bit about the scale of the company too.
Yep.
You know, I know Holden's dad is a bar owner. You know, has a small staff. I mean,
Yep.
Dad's got to be there. Right? He doesn't can't afford to pay a manager, right, to run a small restaurant and bar. So that takes a lot of time. So we've been blessed to grow to some degree and not have to open the gate and lock the gate. But yet it's still a mindset that you don't have to do that.
Well, we through the core values and in everything we've been talking about, we've figured out a way to work smarter and not harder.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not harder isn't the correct word, but work smart. You don't have to work harder, work smarter.
And just get your shit done and go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's an
I agree.
interesting thing.
I agree.
What's changed in the, let's say stay Windows just for a second, because you've lived in Windows for 15 years?
Yeah, 15, 16.
What's changed in Windows since you started? Here's the Bruce, number 2.
There we go.
I'm more jacked about his retirement than he is.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
We can be like, gone. Yeah, good or bad.
What's changed in Windows? Oh, boy. Boy, a lot has changed in the past 2 years. You know, I watched this with Jerry Joseph and Marshall a couple weeks ago. Yeah, that's about as true can be. Anything. I think it's anything you order now. You know, whether it's Mike Johnson or Lori ordering doors or anything in our industry.
We had no idea how easy we had it.
Oh my goodness, it's crazy.
The cool thing is the people starting in our industry now, which is hundreds at Drexel. When we get back to some stability, they're going to have a shit ton of fun.
Oh, yeah. If it would ever get
the fun has been sucked out of our industry.
I wouldn't argue that point right now. Yeah, it's a tough goal once in a while.
And complications. I'm sure as the window lines become more complicated.
Mm-hmm. I know. I never. Kind of going back to 10 minutes ago. I'm going to be selling windows. Okay, how tough can that be? What is there to know about? Yeah, there's a lot to know. There's a ton you have to know. And I think, like you said too, I think it just gets more and more complicated. The more options that you have for homeowners to choose from, there's a lot of variables, and you get on some of these bigger jobs, and the homeowner wants what they want, and you have to know that. You have to know what their needs are, and you have to.
Are they smarter? Are they smarter about Windows than they ever were, or less smart? And it's more educated, like knowledgeable based of Windows.
Yeah, I run into a lot of people that come in, and you can tell in about the first 45 seconds of the conversation.
They've either researched the ton of it, or they're going to trust you. One or the other.
Correct.
Either they're the person that says, I've done all the research, I may know more than you, or they're the person saying, I saw the name Drexel, whatever you got on the shelf, I'm buying.
Yep.
I also say that at Costco. I go to Costco, and I don't know, God bless Costco for that. Mm-hmm. Maybe they have a whole bunch of horrible things going on. When I go to Costco, I trust whatever they got on the shelf. Mm-hmm. Like, I think they did the research. I think they have the right price. I think it's going to be a great product. It's probably organic. It's probably natural ingredients. I could be totally wrong. They've convinced me of that.
Yep.
I just grab it. I'm like, Costco shit, perfect. Kirkland, even better.
Their apple pies were good.
Yeah, whatever they have, I'm just like, that's going to be good. They got lobster. Oh shit, they got lobster. I'm going to buy lobster. I don't even need lobster. Good. It's Costco lobster. Whatever they got, I'm trusting. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I think a lot of consumers do that with our name.
Sure.
And a lot of names. But then I do think you have other customers. My son has hi Marcus, he doesn't watch it either. He's had a knee injury, right? And I'm that patient, or I'm that father. I'm going to know as much as
Sure.
I'm going to be the surgeon's aide. Right, like
right.
I actually know that doctor in Cincinnati. His name's Dr. Finn. Oh, it is? Yeah. Researched it last night. Oh, the guy's like, oh, you're that dude.
Is it?
What?
Who's Marcus's doctor?
Dr. Van Blandon, Children's Hospital.
My doctor was Dr. LeJudas. He was pretty good.
LeJudas.
Yeah.
Sounds like Judas. Scary. I don't know. It's kind of scary. That's good. No, he's.
But yeah, I agree. You can tell in about the first 15, 20 seconds for sure. Mm-hmm. But with the internet and everybody having a very detailed website, you can tell right away when people are floating around finding. Like you said, there's some people that come in and know as much about it as you do.
Yeah, and I've always said for the newbies out there, even the veterans out there, when you have that kind of customer, don't be scared of them. lean on them.
For
Right?
sure.
And when they start asking a detailed question
Yeah.
that you probably think they know the answer to and they're just setting you up, just go with it.
Yeah.
And like, I'm guessing you already know that answer, so what do you know about the product? And then get them talking as much as they can.
Yeah.
They've got a don't try to be set up to fail and try to start playing chess with them. Is let them go.
I'd rather deal with a customer like that than somebody that doesn't know what they want. If somebody comes in and tells me exactly what they're,
Yeah.
well, hell, now it's easy.
Or
I know
don't mind
exactly
customers
what you
that
want.
don't know what they want if they're trusting. The
Right.
passive aggressive is always the worst. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. 3 weeks later, I hate all this, and I totally care.
Correct.
I guess that's
Good. Correct.
I guess most customers like that are frustrating. I'm sure the restaurant industry is the same way, right, Holden?
Sometimes.
I don't care at all. Just make me a drink. That's horrible. Okay, well, you didn't care 2 seconds ago. Any of the beers are good. That's a horrible beer. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't win. Interesting conversation.
Yeah.
I have 2 different ones, totally sidewise. We'll go with Holden's first. More a little deeper, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. You're retiring tomorrow. Holden's starting his life at 17 and a half.
Yeah.
18. Thinks he knows what he wants to do when he grows up. What advice you got for him?
Oh boy. I don't know, do different things. You know, I mean, there's kind of going back to my story. You know, I found out when I was 42 or 43, I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do.
I still don't. I'm 48.
Right. Right. Do what makes you happy. Find something you want to find something to do that makes you happy. Don't let money dictate what you do. Money isn't everything. You know, money isn't everything. If you're not happy, if you're not happy doing what you're doing, then it's really work. Then it's really work, and it's not gonna work out well for you.
And you're going to add
Right.
on to that. You're going to justify your high-paid job by buying toys and things you don't need.
Oh, for sure.
And your life's going to spiral that way. Instead of the opposite.
Yep. Yeah. Do what you like to do. Find something you like to do and go with that. And if you get real good at that, the higher paychecks will come.
That's a great way to say it. And
but-
as you guys, if you watch my podcast, you know I'm a God guy. God made you for a reason, and if you like it and you're gravitating towards it,
Yeah.
God's signing off on that. In fact, I talked to a bunch of kids this week. I taught in school, and I had a conversation with them all. You know,
At gym, I saw that on your
I was at the Holy Trinity gym, and I talked to them all, and I said, you know, God made everybody perfect, is what people don't realize, right? Perfect for them. And so some of the kids weren't fast. I did gym class, and some of the kids can run, right? I mean, the wheels just don't work right. They're not coordinated enough. I could tell there was a little jealousy, or the better kids are like, I'm athletic and you're not, you know. But God makes everybody perfect. So go with your passions, and when you do, you'll
sure.
soar. And I also said the opposite way. Imagine how disappointed God is when you're chasing money or a job that you hate. God's got to be like, no, Bruce, we're doing, no, that's not.
Yeah.
Dude, that's not.
Like, yeah.
You're not. That's not why you're on the planet.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out, but right now you're not. That ain't your
Yep.
thing, dude.
But-
right? You're chasing earthly things, and now
Very
you're pissed
true.
off at me, and I'm like, because you're supposed to be over there being an artist, and you're trying to be an athlete, you know, in an extreme sense.
Yep.
Can we pause for a second? Did David Robinson play for Navy? Is that?
He did.
He did,
He did.
and
I see that Top
yeah.
Gun of him in the Navy.
He actually first hit the NBA when he was maybe 24 or 25, because he actually had to go
Because
through his
he
whole
served,
Navy. He
didn't he?
served.
Yeah.
And then he had to be on the a boat, which made the beds were made for like 6'4" people, and he was 7'1".
Yeah. Oh, he's
One of the best athletes that has ever played in the NBA.
Yeah.
And really funny if you get into it. So he was on the original Dream Team, and he's working out with like Barkley, Magic, and these guys, all timers, and he's golfing with them. And he was such a religious, so super straight as an arrow guy. They were swearing and betting, and he walked off the course. So they can't do this.
That
Guys.
I
They
didn't
can't
hear.
do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's how he was. Very Mr. Consistent. So kind of struggled a lot in the NBA. You know, just one of those dudes. And then Tim Duncan showed up, and then they
They drafted.
then they went crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think Robinson was hurt one year or something, so they slunk down to the first pick or top 3 picks, and then they got him. But
Yeah.
absolutely one of the first guys in the NBA that was just absolutely ripped and jacked, and And he played for Navy, and he was just super dominant, obviously, Navy.
There was one like star who played for Navy. I just can't remember who it was.
So anyways,
Yeah,
bring up like see if you got like Bruce Billery stuff, Drexel stuff. Like get David off there. I don't think Bruce thought there was going to be a David Robinson.
No, that's fine.
That's funny. It's all good. All right. So second thing I wanted to ask you, which is almost the polar opposite, because I don't know, and only you know, right? Is so when did you know you wanted to retire? And then like how are you feeling right now about your retirement? Like are you? I don't know. I don't know. If it's mixed emotions. Are you at peace with it? Are you like anxiety? Where are you at?
No,
Like, how are you going to sleep tonight?
I'm very much at peace with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were a couple of things that led up to it. I always thought I'd work till, 64, 65. Love working
And
here.
you are that age?
I'll be 61 in May.
So you're exiting early.
Yep.
Then you're charted out path, if
Yep.
you say.
Yep.
Okay.
Got a plan. Got a plan. I always thought I'd, do the 64, 65, whatever. Love working here. Not saying that's just because I'm sitting here. Love the people I work for. Going back to a couple days after that first interview, your father and yourself have treated me great for all these years. I do appreciate that. Actually, what kind of started to close the deal there? You remember my son Brendan?
Of course.
Yep.
Shout out to Brendan.
He's
worked
got
at Drexel for at least 5 years, I'm guessing.
well. I think him and Whitty opened up Wrightstown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
times.
and then he
great.
came down, but yeah.
Yeah, he's a chapter in the book, as I always say. Like,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
a real guy. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
And he quit by us in July or August.
To do his own thing.
Does his own thing. He's got his own mill. He's got a
Well, do you wanna-
kiln,
Do
and
you want to give him a plug?
I do. We're getting there.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So he's got his own deal. He's got a molder, and he does all his own stuff. Did he make a tabletop for your dad?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yep.
Absolutely beautiful.
So he'll get the big tree trunks and rip them down into 2-inch slabs and make tables, and he's busier than hell.
So as Bruce said, he's not a salesman. What I meant a plug is like, what's his company's name? If you want to
Oh,
contact him.
it's called The Woods. It's called The Woods.
A plug.
Yeah.
The Woods, and how would I find him? Besides driving to his shop and finding numbers.
I don't think he's got a website yet.
And he's out a year. If I needed a tabletop,
Oh boy, I'd have to ask him. You would be out, I'm guessing, probably at least 6 or 8 months.
so he's not real nervous about advertising.
No.
That's awesome.
No.
Congratulations for him.
Yep. So
And you are going to go.
and I'm gonna help him for. I'm gonna get over there and help him get his books and paperwork straightened out and stuff.
Not his strengths.
Correct.
I know
Correct.
Brendan. I know Brendan.
Yep.
Not his strengths. Not his passion.
And then probably what pushed me over the top, my second youngest son Brian, he's going to build a house offsite with Drexel this summer.
Awesome. Thank you. Remember Paul's? Have him sign up for Paul's.
He bought about 315 mini storage units in West Bend.
Oh, wow.
So he bought, before you get to Wallace Lake,
Yep.
350?
315. Yeah.
there's one right across from the old Club 144.
Oh, yeah. Right on
He bought-
144, right on the northeast corner.
That's one of them.
Yep.
And then he's got one right up by you, kind of right behind Weasler's up on the hill.
Yeah.
Same guy had them. Was that Highway 45
Trucking
storage
company,
or?
right? Wedemeyer Trucking.
I think
Weedmeyer?
I was there
Weedmeyer
once with
family?
him this winter.
Yeah. Weedmeyer's, I think. Right
Yeah.
behind Schlufty's. Stop at Schlufty's. Shout out to Schlufty's.
Yes.
Oh, you don't drink anymore. But you can have a nice
Yeah.
cold water.
Yep.
I get a highlight. if I was there
So
myself.
him and his wife Shannon closed on that right before Thanksgiving, and that's actually kind of what pushed me over the top. I think.
So what do you do for them?
Well, we'll go down and cut the lawn,
Cut the locks,
And-
have an auction.
check, do
What's
the
that- what's that
locks
show?
and
What's
paint
that
the
show?
doors and.
Auction hogs. What's it called?
Oh,
Storage Wars.
Yeah.
Storage Wars.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like Storage Wars.
Yep.
So I would imagine I'll be in West Bend day and a half every week.
Right. So
Help
maintaining that.
Brendan. Yeah. Just
Helping around with Brendan, seeing the grandkids. Mm-hmm. Helping out Bern. Bern's retired.
she is not. She works for the chiropractor in
Oh,
Plymouth.
still does. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
She works Tuesdays and Fridays. Enjoys that. Dan and Jean, the husband and wife chiropractor, they kind of treat her like a sister there. So,
Right.
I mean, she's worked on and off there for 20 years probably.
Yeah.
She enjoys that. I think she enjoys being out for a couple of days. But no, the kids in their own business, that really kind of pushed me over the top. And then I guess I never really thought about it much, and probably took 6-8 months for it to really sink in and hit me. But the episode with my youngest son last January.
Can we talk about that? Are you going to be okay?
I'm fine. Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
Yeah.
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 So youngest son,
He's a lineman for Alliant Energies.
what's his name?
His name is Bruce Jr., BJ.
Hi, BJ, yep.
Yep.
All the B's.
Yep.
So your youngest son of 4,
Youngest of 4. Yep.
lineman,
Yep.
and
They were over by Miesfeld's Meat Market on the north side of Sheboygan. Story has it, I guess an excavator hit an underground power line and whatever, so they were called out. It's their territory, so they went out, and still don't know all the details of it.
no one ever will.
Yeah, you're right. They were in a trench. I think there were 3 guys in a trench, and something obviously terribly went wrong there. And his boss was 57, 58, roughly my age. He got killed. BJ was in the trench, and they got him out.
You got the call at work.
I got the call at work.
I got the call 2 seconds after that.
Yeah, they brought him. They resuscitated him back on site there. Apparently, from what I've heard, they had their backup truck, so they didn't have a defibrillator.
Electrocuted.
He was electrocuted. So apparently, like I said, I wasn't there, but apparently Miesfeld's had one. Somebody ran out and, they had one at Miesfeld's. They brought him back. They flighted him down
God
to
bless
St.
the
Mary's. Yeah. And I didn't know this until about 2 months later. They brought him back when they were on the Flight for Life down in Milwaukee as well. So, when shit like that happens, you look at life a little differently. You look at shit a little bit differently.
And from what you've told me, they have no reasonable conclusion to why he's alive. Is that fair?
I mean, everybody that's asked me about it, and a million people have asked me about it, and
Scientifically.
Yeah, you're
It's a God thing.
the big guy up there. There was a 4th guy
So
in the
that wasn't
trench
your
there.
time.
Yeah. It had to be. I mean, the one guy, apparently the one guy, and I don't know any of this to be totally factual. Obviously, I wasn't there, but I think he had said they were like 7,200 volts.
And within days he was fully recovered.
That happened on a Thursday at about noon, I believe. We brought him back out of St. Mary's on Sunday. His hands were, I don't know much about electricity. I can probably change that outlet if I flip the breaker off. That's about my knowledge of it. But apparently that comes in here and goes out here.
You're just a circuit.
Yeah,
Just a
he had a
wire.
bunch of burn marks through here, but his palms were pretty much raw meat.
Shard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I totally believe in miracles. I really do. I don't understand why some people's miracles are answered and some
Yeah.
aren't. I guess that's more of a miracle than anything. But
Yeah.
when it happens, it's amazing. And
Yeah,
has it impacted your entire family?
I think for sure. I think it's just kind of like I said. I think you just think about shit differently. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just. I mean, in maybe myself and my wife being the age that we are. You've lived a little bit of life already, and it's some scary shit.
Yeah.
It's like I said. Why he's. You kind of wonder why he's here. It's crazy. I mean,
Which for soldiers
Yeah.
can turn into PSTD and suicidal because my guys aren't here, but
Oh,
I'm here.
sure,
So it's actually good. You think they're going to be these glorious people, and they end up being dark because they're like, I
Oh,
shouldn't
for
be
sure.
here either. I should have
sure.
been there. But yet you're here.
Yeah.
which is a true miracle. And again, the ripples that affect one human affect so many.
Oh, for sure.
Right? That happened to BJ, but you and Bern were impacted by it.
Yeah.
I'm impacted by it. I've never met him.
Yeah.
Like that's a cool, to me, that's a cool thing. Like we are so interconnected. Our strings are all attached.
So, no, and like I said, those couple things with the boys, I think it'll be exciting to help Brendan get off the ground with his stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I think, and like I said,
He needs some guardrails.
yeah. I think he's got a bunch of the old guardrails. I think he bought a couple units
He needs
of them.
guardrails of his business, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yep. Yep. So, no, those three things.
That's great.
And I'm, like I said, I so far I am in fairly good shape yet. So,
Have at
yeah,
it.
have at it.
That's awesome.
Have at it.
That's great.
So,
Final question. We're here.
all right.
We're there already. That went
Here
quick.
we are.
Always goes so quick. You have a giant, big billboard. Tons of people are going to see it. Say anything you want. It can be anything you want. You got people that said, hey, it's just going to be a painting of something. What is it?
I've thought about this because Holden sent this in an email yesterday. So,
Finally did it.
this is a
It's in every email.
little pre-rehearsed here, but keep it simple. Keep life simple. I don't know. I guess I'm kind of somewhat of a simple guy. Don't make shit more complicated than what it is. Whether it's work or a relationship or life in general. Don't simplify things as much as you can. I think there's a lot of distractions in life, social media. It's just keep life simple and keep shit in perspective.
That's good. You and I share the love of nature,
Oh, absolutely.
and I think in nature is where you keep it simple. Mm-hmm. I think that's why I love to walk in the woods and hunt and fish.
Oh,
'Cause it's not that complicated. You
Yeah.
put a light in the water, you reel it in. They either bite or they don't.
I mean, you've
pretty simple.
You've been to my place back there.
Yeah, I
mean,
love
it's
this
just
place.
it's just
He lives in
back
he
in the
lives-
woods.
If there's the epicenter of the Kettle Moraine, we won't share where it is. Not that people are going to visit you anyway, but it is the epicenter, in my opinion. Like if I had to say, this is the middle of the Kettle Moraine. He lives in the middle of the Kettle Moraine. It's the most beautiful place. It
Yeah.
is like you're in Wyoming. It's beautiful.
just
absolutely beautiful.
Like you said,
Stunning.
walk in the woods. I just think I see other people or notice other people, and it's just simplify your life. Make it.
The busyness of life is the devil.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And by simplifying it, less is more. And,
Less-
and we're ending on a really good spiritual note, then I'm taking it all the way back to windows. Less is more in window lines. Don't sell so many window
Correct.
lines. Don't make it so complicated. You have 21 openings. Let's fill them up with some beautiful windows.
Yep.
2 patio doors. We're good. It's not that hard.
Yep.
Keep it simple.
And some of the stuff we do is, obviously somebody's putting up a $4 million house. It's complicated, but simplify it for the people. Make it easy to work through.
It's a $4 million house, but yet it's 100 openings that we're going to fill up with some glass. Shouldn't be quite that hard.
Correct.
I love you, man. Thank you so much.
You as
for
well.
coming on,
I appreciate
honestly.
you having me,
Honestly,
Joel.
my favorite people.
I appreciate you having me. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yep.
Episode number 50. It was worth it. It's a milestone episode. It was good. Good luck to you, Bruce.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Thanks for all
everything
the
you guys
time
have
that you
done
did
for me.
here.
Yeah, you betcha.
Thank you,
You're
man.
very welcome. You're very welcome.